Most men have no idea what women truly desire. Deep inside, they will never say it out loud, but if you understand these hidden truths, you become unstoppable today. I'm revealing what women secretly want but will never admit. Stay till the end, because the last point will shock you. Most people think love is found by luck, or worse, by accident. They believe if they just wait long enough, dress sharp enough, or say the right words, somehow the right woman will fall into their lives like divine magic. But what if I told you that the love you want, the relationship you long for, is not something you stumble into? It is something you must be prepared for, and that preparation begins with mastering an art. So few ever dare to even study, much less embody. Why is it that so many men, full of dreams and good intentions, still find themselves overlooked, forgotten, or worse, tolerated instead of deeply loved? Is it bad luck? Is it simply that the right person hasn't come along yet, or is it that they have not yet become the kind of man a woman's soul learning and recognize, trust, and follow? I want you to picture a man. Maybe you know him. Maybe you've been him standing in the middle of his life, watching his friends get married, watching relationships spark and fade around him, wondering why not me. He prays, he hopes, sometimes he even despairs, and slowly resentment creeps in. Bitterness grows. He starts to believe that maybe love is a game rigged against him, but deep down, why words alone fail, cannot escape the knowing suspicion that maybe the real problem is not out there. Maybe it's in here, you see, waiting for the right. Relationship is not passive. It's not sitting at home hoping for fate to finally remember your address. No, true waiting is preparation in motion, is act of transformation. It is brutal self-honesty. It is spiritual alignment with a higher standard. You don't wait for the right person by sitting still. You become the right person by growing, refining, conquering your own chaos. This is where most men fail, and it is also where unforgettable men are forged, because here is the raw, unfiltered truth you are not waiting for. Love. Love is waiting for you to be ready. Let that sink in, this one art. The art that women silently long for a man to master is not seduction. It's not bravado. It's not chasing it. Is emotional mastery. It is spiritual leadership, and mastering it is not optional. If you intend to be unforgettable tonight, I'm going to show you exactly why and exactly how. Let's begin. You have been taught to believe that love is a reward, that if you wait long enough, wish hard enough, or simply enjoy your loneliness without making too much noise somehow, somewhere your story will end in romance. But what if I told you love is not a prize for the passive? What if I told you that the man who merely waits is already losing? Let's be brutally honest for a moment. Why do so many people struggle so profoundly in relationship? Why do they find themselves, the power of presence, trapped in cycles of disappointment, betrayal, confusion? Is it really just bad timing or cruel fate? Or is it that many of us have been unwilling to confront the painful truth that we are simply not yet the person we are asking someone else to love? I remember a man I once knew. Ambitious, kind-hearted, good on the surface, but he carried within him annoying resentment, a deep frustration that love kept passing him by. Instead of building himself, he chased fleeting connections instead of sharpening his mind, his spirit, his purpose. He dulled his soul, scrolling through distractions, convincing himself he was ready when life itself testified otherwise. And so every woman he met eventually felt the same quiet disappointment, because though he wanted love, he had not prepared a life worth sharing. He was asking for loyalty, connection, devotion, but he hadn't built the foundation where such a thing could even survive. Here's a hard truth. Desperation is not love's fuel, it is love's poison. The man who moves in desperation does not inspire commitment. He triggers fear, discomfort, even pity, and none of these things are the seeds of lasting attraction. Real attraction, true soul-stirring. Attraction is built on competence, on self-respect, on personal growth. A woman's heart is drawn not to the man who shouts the loudest, not to the one who begs for her attention, but to the man who walks with a quiet gravity because he knows who he is, and whose he is, you must understand. Marriage is not a gift. It is a calling, a covenant, a cross. You must be prepared to carry it. Demands strength, endurance, emotional intelligence, and spiritual maturity. It demands a man who has already chosen growth long before he asks anyone to walk beside him. So the real question is not, when will love find me? The real question is, when will I become the man who can truly hold it? This is your call to action. Stop waiting for the right relationship to validate you. Stop chasing people to fill the void. You refuse to heal. Stop blaming timing, circumstances, or other people's blindness. Start preparing, start building a life and a soul worthy of the future you claim you want. And here's the mic drop reality. You can never unhear. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you are, and if you don't like what's coming to you, it's time to change what's growing within you. Because no woman longs for a man who is merely waiting. She longs for the man who is emotional mastery over drama becoming. Most people don't fail at love because they are unworthy of it. They fail because they are chasing something they have not yet become worthy to sustain. You see, love isn't something you catch like a lucky break. It's something you build capacity for. And until you understand that you will continue to run after relationships that collapse under the weight of your own unpreparedness. Let me ask you a question that demands brutal honesty. If love found you today, real deep, covenant, love, could you hold it? Would your character, your discipline, your emotional maturity, your spiritual backbone be strong enough to carry it? Or would you quietly sabotage it like so many before you? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Relationships don't collapse because of fate. They collapse because of character. They collapse because broken people try to build unbreakable bonds without first healing their own fractures. Let me tell you a story. There was a man I once counseled who spent years praying for a wife. Years, every Sunday, he was at the altar, begging God for a breakthrough in his love life. But in his daily life, he was passive, entitled, stuck in cycles of laziness, bitterness, and fear when a good woman came along. Yes, a woman who could have been a blessing. He suffocated the relationship with his neediness, his insecurity, his lack of purpose. He wasn't ready, and love will not stay where there is no room for it to breathe. Here's what most don't want to hear. Desperation is not a romantic language. It is a red flag. A man who begs for love communicates to the world that he does not know how to be whole by himself. And when you cannot stand strong alone, you will always lean too heavily on the one you claim to love. And eventually, they will break under the burden. Real attraction isn't about chasing. It's about becoming magnetic and true. Magnetism is built on competence, on self-respect, on internal abundance. A man who has built something of substance within himself naturally draws others to him, not through manipulation or frantic pursuit, but through the silent, undeniable weight of who he has become. Why mystery triggers? Deep attraction. The shift you must make is this. Stop treating marriage like a lottery you're trying to win. Stop treating it like a battlefield you must be trained for. It's not about luck, it's about preparation, it's about discipline, it's about responsibility. God does not send blessings into hands that are not prepared to steward them. So I challenge you today, stop waiting for someone to save you from yourself. Stop chasing validation, stop praying for a love you're not building yourself to handle. Stop growing, stop stretching. Start building the life and character that love can survive inside. Because here's the final, undeniable mic drop reality. Love isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person. So when love arrives, you are finally ready to keep it. We live in a world obsessed with timing, yet tragically ignorant of preparation. Everyone wants the blessing. Few are willing to become the kind of person who can hold it. And that's why so many people fail in love, because they think divine timing means sitting still and waiting. When in reality, divine timing demands movement. It demands preparation. It demands transformation. Let me confront you with a hard question. If God opened the door today, if the person you've been praying for walked into your life, would you even recognize them? Or would your fear, your wounds, your immaturity blind you to the very thing you claim to desire? See, too many are like the foolish bridesmaids in Matthew 25, the ones who brought their lamps, but no oil they showed up. They looked apart, but when the crucial moment arrived, they were unprepared. And because they were unprepared, they missed the blessing that was meant for them. I knew a woman, once beautiful, kind-hearted, deeply spiritual. She had a list of what she wanted in a husband, all ambitious, God-fearing, patient, successful. She spent years waiting, praying, wishing. But during that time, she refused to confront her own bitterness, her unrealistic expectations, her unresolved trauma. And when a good man finally appeared patient, stable, a man of vision, she didn't recognize him. He wasn't packaged the way she fantasized, and so she dismissed him. She kept waiting, and is still waiting because God is late, but because she has not done the internal work. To see clearly, the hard truth is, this desperation, clouds, judgment, preparation, clarifies it. And until you become the kind of person who can discern the role of self-respect and boundaries, appreciate and cultivate real love, you will continue mistaking counterfeits for the real thing, or worse, rejecting the very blessing you ask. For marriage is not a prize handed out for endurance. It's not a gold medal you earn by simply staying alive long enough. Marriage is a sacred covenant, one that demands emotional strength, spiritual wisdom, and psychological resilience. It demands that you become not just ready to love, but worthy of it. So here's the call to action. Stop thinking that patience means passivity. True patience is active. It's digging deep, healing wounds, building strength, developing virtue. It's not standing still. It's growing so that when the right person arrives, you're already standing tall beside them, not begging them to complete you, because here's the mic drop moment. You cannot afford to forget the blessing you're waiting for is already scheduled. But whether you experience it or miss it entirely depends not on divine timing alone, but on your readiness to receive it. Most people think they're looking for love, but the truth is they're looking for validation. They're chasing the high of being chosen, not the responsibility of becoming choosable, and that's why their relationships crumble like castles made of sand, because they were built on neediness, not strength. Let me ask you a question that cuts deeper than comfort. If you stripped away the loneliness, if you stripped away the fear, if you stripped away the societal pressure to have someone, would you still be the person you are right now? Or would you realize that most of your search for love has been a desperate attempt to fill a void you refuse to heal yourself? I once met a man brilliant and kind, but deeply insecure. He believed that finding the right woman would solve his inner emptiness. So he chased love the way a starving man chases scraps. He tolerated disrespect. He lowered his standards. He tried to earn love with gifts, words, promises, and every relationship ended the same way: resentment, rejection, regret. It wasn't because women were cruel. It was because he didn't realize when you chase love from a place of emptiness, you attract partners who mirror your brokenness, not your potential. Here's the brutal truth you need to hear. Desperation is the smell of death to healthy relationships. It signals to others, sometimes unconsciously, that you are not whole, that you are seeking to take, not to give. And nobody wants to be consumed by another person's unhealed born attraction. Isn't about tricks. It's about truth. It's about walking into a room already complete, already grounded, already aware of your worth, whether anyone notices or not. Because when you embody that energy, love doesn't become something you chase, it becomes something you choose. The shift is simple but radical. Stop asking where. Subtle signals. Women can't resist. Is my person? Start asking, am I becoming the kind of person who deserves the kind of love I desire? Marriage true. Marriage is not the reward for showing up. It's the reward for becoming someone capable of covenant. Not just companionship, it demands sacrifice, self-awareness, emotional maturity, and most of all, the humility to grow when it's easier to blame. So here's your challenge. Stop waiting for love to rescue you. Stop chasing validation in the arms of people who barely know how to love themselves. Become so deeply, so powerfully, so unapologetically whole that love has no choice but to find you, because you are no longer looking for someone to complete you. You have become complete. And that, my friends, is the foundation of a love that lasts. And here's your mic drop moment. The truth that should echo in your mind long after today: you don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you are become worthy, and watch everything you once chased start chasing you. Most people don't fail at relationships because love isn't available to them. They fail because they believe the right partner will fix what only discipline, humility, and hard work can heal you. Think you're waiting on love, but maybe love is waiting on you. So let me ask you something. Piercing, if God answered your prayer for the perfect spouse right now, would you be the kind of person that spouse has been praying for you? See, we romanticize the idea of destiny, of the one of meeting someone who will magically pull us out of our insecurities and loneliness. But that fantasy is seductive precisely because it lets us escape accountability. It lets us pretend that our brokenness is someone else's job to heal. And so people wait, not in preparation, but in passivity. They wait in bitterness. They wait in resentment. They wait without becoming. I once knew a woman, beautiful, talented, full of dreams, but she spent her 20s and 30s resentfully watching others fall in love, marry, and build families. She thought, why not me? What she didn't realize was she hadn't become the woman she needed to be. She nurtured her bitterness more than her spirit she fed, her impatience more than her growth. And the men she attracted were not partners. They were mirrors of her own unresolved hurt. Here's the truth that many are too afraid to fake desperation. Corrodes your spirit, it makes you grasp, it makes you settle, it makes you sabotage real attraction. Lasting attraction is final thoughts. Becoming the man. She remembers built when a person is so anchored in their identity that they do not need another to validate their worth. They bring their full self to the table, not their wounds, not their yet unfinished business. And from that overflow, real love is born. You have to understand something life-altering. Marriage is not a prize. You win, it's not a gold medal for enduring years of loneliness. It's a covenant, a sacred contract. It demands maturity, it demands dying to selfishness daily. It demands the best parts of you, not just your wish to be loved, but your preparedness to love. In return, stop fantasizing about meeting the right one. Start preparing to become the right one. Become so grounded in your faith, so secure in your identity, so responsible for your own healing, that when love arrives, it doesn't find a desperate soul clutching at rescue. It finds a whole person ready to build a life, a legacy, a purpose, driven partnership. Use the mic drop a moment. I want you to burn into your soul. Love isn't hiding from you. Love is waiting for you to rise. Rise to meet the future you've been praying for.